Hey everybody, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Man, I have been watching The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I have been a buzz for what's happening in every single episode. It's been exciting. I had George and Nathan when we were talking about WandaVision, so I was like, man, we need to have another show where we talk about The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So today I got Nate and George couldn't make it, so I got today Geneva, who's with us, and we're gonna be talking about. We're gonna break it down. 4 episodes have passed. Very soon, tomorrow, the 5th episode will be coming out, and I told Nate and George, and we got Geneva on today, but we had to talk about this show, especially after last week's episode, the way last week's episode ended. My goodness. So everybody, spoiler alert, if you have not watched Falcon and the Winter Soldier, put this on the side and watch those episodes because we won't be getting into it. So first things first, let's talk about the end scene of episode 4. So I'll give a little recap and then I want you guys' analysis. So John Walker, who is one of the antagonists of this story in The Falcon and Winter Soldier, he took the super soldier serum. He is the new Captain America. He has the shield. His friend Battlestar dies in a battle, and he finds one of the Flag Smashers, and he literally smashes him with the shield. The Captain America shield, puts blood on it and everything. The whole world was watching because it was in a public square. Everybody YouTubed, Facebook lived it, Instagram lived it, TikToked it. It's on all social media. It went to TMZ immediately. There's no CNN in the MCU, but all the news stations got it. And they see blood on the shield as the new Captain America, John Walker, has killed a man that he had in control. Also, another fact about this Flag Smasher is this Flag Smasher idolized the original Captain America, Steve Trevor. So, Geneva, you're new to this. Tell us how you felt at that imagery.
Oh, that honestly, it's what really, like, when I saw that there was blood on the shield, it really took me. I was like, wow. This is not what Steve Rogers wanted. This is not what he meant in the passing of the shield. There wasn't supposed to be blood shed on the shield, if like that makes sense. The way that it was shed onto the shield, it like when you looked at the end, it looked bad. It looked wrong for that blood to be on the shield. You know what I'm saying? Like it shouldn't have been like that. Like the shield wasn't meant for that.
Nate, what you got to think about it, man?
Eric, man, you see, I have the poster behind me. In the front, at the biggest part of the poster, you see Cap's head. This is my icon. Two favorite superheroes. But this fool Walker. Listen, no hate to the actor. The actor who plays John Walker, he's an awesome dude. But I hate his character.
Hate it.
Anybody who knows me knows how much I love Captain America. And how much I love the MCU's version of Captain America. Because at the end of the day, Cap always did the right thing. It didn't matter. Even in Civil War. Guys, Cap was right. Hello? That's why it's Captain America Civil War. People who are on Team Iron Man are wrong. That's the whole point of the movie. Still. That imagery. And you know what's crazy? The cinematographer, the guy who did the screenplay for the show, did that last shot on purpose. He wanted to make sure that you saw the taint of blood on the legacy of that shield. Since that shield had been in use. Since when did Captain America do anything questionable with that shield? Anytime that man used that shield, it was for good. Every single time.
Yeah.
And to have blood, the final shot be blood. Think about it. In the MCU, when have you ever seen blood on Cap's shield?
Exactly. That's why I was just thinking of that.
It has never been blood on Cap's shield in the entirety of the MCU. Not even when he was fighting in World War II. So just to see that is just, oh man. And John Walker just looking at the whole world, seeing him rent the name of Captain America. You know what? Zemo said it. Zemo said that there's never going to be another Steve Rogers. They either turn into Steve Rogers or Callie Morgenthau, and there will only be one Steve Rogers.
Exactly.
You know how I feel. My emotions are all over the place. I need to take this off. It's too hot. My emotions are all over the place. It's not fair.
So,
It's not fair.
so here's the thing, everybody. And I was talking to Geneva earlier about this when we were warming up. This show has gone there. It has gone there in a deep and major way. And one thing that I have noticed is there's a lot of John Walker sympathizers out there. And it has aggravated me as a black man and as a man who loves the MCU and loves comics. Because one, this dude's the villain. He is 100% the villain. And the sympathizers sympathize with John Walker in the sense that they see themselves like John Walker. He lost his friend, his conscience, he died in a battle. So what does he do? He gets revenge. And to all those John Walker sympathizers who say, I would do the same thing, I say, that's why you're not Captain America.
Exactly.
That's why you're not a superhero. With great power comes great responsibility. That's what Stan Lee has taught us in the MCU. That's what Spider-Man learned. You do not use the powers to go after your selfish desires, because you are going to put pain and hurt into the world. And that's what Steve Rogers understood better than anybody. He never, ever, because there was a lot of sympathizers say, well, Captain America did kill. Captain America never killed out of revenge, out of anger, and for selfish reasons. Captain America killed Nazis who were killing Jews, okay? That's why we never, ever have out of all the wars that have ever happened in the entire world history, nobody has ever talked bad about the Allied forces in World War II. Why? Because they were fighting a dude who was literally exterminating a race of people, a religion, because they wanted to. And to stop that was actually bringing good into the world. So to say that Steve Rogers killed and therefore John Walker should be allowed to kill is not the argument, because he used his circumstances, his emotions to dictate his actions, and that's not what heroes do. If you are saying that you would take the super soldier serum and you would get to do whatever you please, you are not a hero. You are the villain. That's who Steve Rogers would fight. Because who does that? Takes a super soldier serum and does whatever they please? That's a bully. Steve Rogers, he hates bullies. That's his story. All right? So if you like Steve Rogers, you cannot like John Walker. Absolutely cannot like John Walker. Because if Steve Rogers was around and he saw John Walker, he would be beating that dude up as Steve Rogers would say in all his movies, I can do this all day.
All day.
He would be beating on that dude all day long, because he is a villain 100%. Now let's get to the other thing I wanted to talk about John Walker, that he's such a villain. The reason he takes the super soldier serum is because he fights two wonderful, empowered, strong Black African women from the Wakanda of the Dora Milaje. Okay, there's a scene where the Dora Milaje come in to talk to Bucky and Sam, because they want Zemo, because Zemo's free, and they say, "Hey, we want Zemo." John Walker says, "You have no jurisdiction here." Dora Milaje say, "We have jurisdiction wherever we put our feet." it is our jurisdiction because you can't tell us nothing. Okay.
Exactly.
John Walker says, well, don't you know who I am? He does that whole thing, I'm Captain America, and put down those spears. You guys can't do nothing against me. And then Sam and Bucky start laughing in their heads because they're like, oh, it's about to go down. And Zemo's laughing too while drinking some shit. He's like, this is gonna be good.
Mm-hmm.
They proceed to destroy, dismantle, emasculate John Walker because they just beat his butt all over the floor. And he says the line, but they weren't even super soldiers. And one of them's Io, the other one I don't know their name. She does that flip with the shield that Captain always used to be able. She could do it too. She just went flip and puts it on her arm, and that's when you know that this Dora Milaje. You don't mess with the Dora Milaje, okay? Nobody mess.
No,
Even if your name is Bruce Banner, you do not mess with these women.
No.
You do not mess, okay? So he realizes he's out of his depth. There are some people in this world that he can't touch. So he says, I need to get stronger, and I will take the super soldier serum. So, guys, does that prove that John Walker is a villain? What do you guys think?
Okay, honestly, the second he looked at that super soldier serum and he took it for himself, I knew he was going to take it. Because he already felt inferior to Captain America because he already knew he thought that he was mentally ready for it. Like he was there as the same place. Like he saw himself as an equal. The only part where he didn't see was the fact that he didn't have the super soldier serum. And I feel like that's when he took it. He knew he was going to take it. And then the cherry on the top was the Dora Milaje. It's what tipped him over. Like he was already going to get to that point, but it's what tipped him over. And I was like, what are you doing? It was when he was asking everyone, oh, like, what would you do? And his best friend told him, I would take it. I was like,
what you gotta say, Nate?
Listen, for me, it's just like you look at John Walker. I mean, obviously, if you're familiar with U.S. Agent, the comic book villain, you know that he's gonna take the serum. But it's interesting how they wrote out that arc because that conversation with Lamar, and that was such huge foreshadowing.
mm-hmm.
Because what people forget to realize is Lamar was the one who said, oh, the things that we did in Afghanistan. Well, John Walker was telling Lamar how the things that they did in Afghanistan, where they got the Medals of Honor, were bad things that the government had them do. And Lamar said, listen, the amount of lives we could have saved in Afghanistan, that was big foreshadowing because even with the super soldier serum, Lamar ended up dying anyway. And I think that's what really is going to make John Walker snap. Like tonight's episode, we're going to see him just be like, well, even the serum couldn't save my best friend. So I'm just going to get my Black Air Forces on and turn into a menace to society. I think that's the resolve that he's come to now because not only is he Captain America psychologically and emotionally, but now physically, like even with the serum, he couldn't even save his best friend. So now it's like he has nothing to lose because Lamar is dead. Lamar got KO'd by Carly. So like he is ready. He is ready to fight. And after that, this episode, I'm convinced that we're gonna see Sam and Bucky be like, that this is it. Like, no, not like we gotta take the shield from this guy.
Going off what Nate said, when he said like he thought he was like he's psychologically and like physically the Captain America, I feel like he thinks that way, but he always feels inferior to the other Captain America, if that makes sense. And he wants to like surpass that, and he feels like he is better, and that's what's like driving that ego.
And here's the thing. That's the other thing about John Walker that is, which makes him a sad character, is, and what I understand why people sympathize, because as Zemo said it, Zemo also foreshadowed whoever's after the serum is either having supremacist ideals or going down that path. And the fact that John Walker said they weren't even super soldiers to two black women who beat his butt, not to say he's racist, but the fact that two women beat him up, and he said, oh, I couldn't even take these two people down. And he says, I need to have the serum then, is leading us to understand that he had to do that so he could be better than people, which means he is having supremacist ideals. He wants to be better than people. He wants to be stronger and faster so he can say he is better. Because here's the other thing about what makes Steve Rogers' story so amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Rogers, when he takes the serum, Steve Rogers takes the serum so he can actually just be a participant, okay? Remember in his story, Steve Rogers is 4'10", bones, literal bones. Like the animation they did to make Chris Evans look like this is ridiculous. But he's 4'10", bones, can't lift anything, has no muscle mass whatsoever. It's like literally impossible. Like I don't know how he, and his best friend is Bucky, who's already 6 foot, handsome and can handle himself. But he can't run. He can't run. He can't jump. Like you see in the basic training sequence in the first Avenger, he can't do anything. He's nothing. And the only reason he's there is because Nate, give me the name of the scientist.
Grisha. I forgot his last name. I knew it's crazy. I watched the movie a couple of days ago. Like,
yeah.
Oh my gosh, I forgot his last name. I'll remember.
No problem.
But I watched the movie like a couple of days ago. Like,
yeah, that's why I always go to you for the names. But basically that scientist knew that I want Steve to have it because Steve's not in it to be better than anybody else. He's in it because if he doesn't have this, he can't do anything, right? John Walker's already got 3 medals of honors. He got them by doing bad things, but he already got 3 medals. If Steve was strong enough to be able to be in the military, he wouldn't take the serum. He would say, no, I'm not taking that. I'm all set. I'm already a hero. And here's the interesting thing. Sam is the same way. Mm-hmm. And that's what makes Sam the real Captain America. That's what the show is telling us. Every time they're saying that this guy, John Walker, is the next Captain America, he's not Captain America. It's always been Sam. Sam refuses to take the serum because he's already strong enough. He will put his life on the line. So I don't need the serum. But John Walker, he takes it.
Something that I just noticed, like when you were talking about from when he took the super soldier serum, is right after Steve Rogers took it. Literally moments after, he literally went and saved somebody. No shoes on. He fresh out of getting out of the experiment, he went and saved lives. And right after, the name's leaving me. The Captain America from this TV show. I forgot his name. What's his name again?
For the new one, John Walker.
Yeah. Right after John Walker took this soldier serum, he killed somebody. So it's just like you can see like the difference in Captain America's, because he tried to save somebody. He tried to save everybody, and even that person that he was chasing down when he bit his when he killed himself at because he bit his tooth and he had foam coming out of his mouth or whatever. Even then he was trying to save everybody else around them. So it's just I just noticed that difference. Whereas when they took the super soldier serums, one chose to kill and the other one chose justice.
Boom. And there's another parallel that we were talking about earlier. The end scene in episode 4, he does it while the world is watching. He doesn't even pay attention to who's there and who's not. And it likens it back to a scene in Black Panther where Black Panther T'Challa is fighting Claw, and then he gets told, hey, control yourself. The world is watching. The world is watching. And here we have a scene where the world is watching.
Yeah.
And he does not control himself. He executes the man. Period. And let's be clear. Let's be clear. Let's name it what it is. When you have incapacitated a person that you are no longer in imminent danger, meaning you are no longer providing yourself self-defense, right? The person's incapacitated, they're done, they're not going to hurt you. It is your duty, if you're some kind of law enforcement, it is your duty to apprehend them and not to execute them. Okay?
Yeah.
Street justice. Okay? That is what we call murder. Okay? John Walker murdered this person. Now, people are saying, well, he's a terrorist. He killed people. And that's absolutely true. We're not going to dispute that. He's a terrorist. He deserves punishment and to be prosecuted.
But he has rights.
Not only that, the whole point is to have him sit in court, okay? So we can expose his crimes and he can be punished correctly. Executing them ruins that. It takes away the justice that could be felt by the victims of the Flag Smashers. It takes away the whole record of everything. You can't do that stuff. That's where it will break down. And Captain America is there to uphold society and America's ideals. And you can't do that stuff. And that's murder. So here's my question to you guys. What do you think? What is the government going to fire John Walker, or are they going to let it slide? Put him on administrative leave?
So I was thinking, it's my own theory. So I was thinking they're gonna, at first I thought it makes sense. He murdered someone, everyone's watching. They're gonna tell them he needs to give the shield back, and then he's not gonna want to, and that's where the fight is gonna begin. But when we were talking, I was thinking it's gonna be more of, they're just gonna let it slide because he was a terrorist, because they believe he was a terrorist. They're just gonna let it slide, and that's where his privilege comes through. And so then I was thinking that I was like, it makes more sense for that to be a thing, and then it's gonna be up to Sam and Bucky to be like, nah, we're not letting this slide. Give us that shield. And I think that's what's gonna happen. Well, now that's what I think is gonna happen, because that's what like this show is. It's highlighting that. So it's like it makes sense for that to be one of the directions they go to.
They can easily take that direction, because that's what the show is about. Like, people don't understand. Like, I know it might seem like people are just trying to throw. No, the writers are intending this show to deal with the fact that the next Captain America is going to be Black. That's what this show is about.
Yeah.
And it's interesting how this show came out. Because this show WandaVision was supposed to come out after this show last year. So this show, if it had come out like last summer, oh my goodness, right? But like, this show is literally highlighting racial tension in America. That's the huge thing. Think about it. Bucky's white, Sam is Black. John Walker's white, Lamar is Black, right? Lamar dies. And it's interesting how you guys were talking about John Walker and abusing his authority. John Walker is a symbol of police brutality because the Flag Smasher had already been apprehended, but yet he still used deadly force. He whipped the shield at him at close range twice. One at his back, and then when he was laying towards him, he threw the shield again at his chest. This man was out and down for the count, and he was begging for mercy. And if you look at the show, like, when the only reason why the guy at the bank was considering giving Sam and his sister a loan was because he was an Avenger. And he needed to be reminded that because he was an Avenger, but the whole idea was microaggression. And that was the attack there, because they're Black. It's like, ugh. And then the scene when Bucky and Sam leave Isaiah Bradley's house, And then all of a sudden they're arguing in the street, and then the police come out of nowhere. They go up to Bucky and they go, "Is this man bothering you?" And then Sam's like, "What? What do you mean? Is this man like? How is this guy bothering me? Like what? Like we're just talking. We're just talking." He goes, "Sir, I'm gonna need you to relax." Like he was reaching. It's amazing because if you pay really close attention, this is what this show is about. It's dealing with race, and the themes are a bit too big brain for some people to understand that that's what the writers are going for on purpose. What happens when America twisted to the point where Captain America is too good for the country? His namesake, he's too good for America. Because there will never be another Steve Rogers. So when you look at Sam, Cap chose Sam. But Sam now against a man who is not only taking, and it's mentioned, it's interesting because he got beat by two black women, by a whole bunch of black women, right? And now Sam has the weight of, oh my goodness, this whole symbol of America, the shield. It's complicated because there was a super soldier that America hid that was black that could have been the next Captain America, but because he was black, they just tested him and tried to find somebody else. And for Steve Rogers, it was never about the representation. Steve loved everybody. Think about it. No, I want you guys to, because Marvel is smart. Think way back. Steve chooses his partner, a black guy. Who did Steve go to in order to fix his best friend? A black guy. He went to T'Challa. Went to Wakanda. Black people took care of Bucky the entire time before Infinity War happened. This is what the show is trying to get at. It wants to stimulate your brain and realize this is way more like, yes, this show is about race because now you're about to have a black Captain America. So what is that like?
And it's so interesting how listening to a lot of analysts who are white have been triggered, and the fragility is showing because they're like, why this show isn't about race, and it shows that they don't want to talk about race, which is the whole definition of white privilege. When you can remove yourself from the dangers and the perils that is racial tension, that's the whole point of, black people, we can't remove ourselves. We can't go outside and feel like we'll be treated fairly and nicely by the police. That's not going to happen for us. We can't remove ourselves from the sadness that is George Floyd. We feel that rage because we see ourselves. And in the MCU, it's highlighting it in a major way and showing you that there was a man who was picked by the the legendary Captain America, who fought in World War II, who gave his life to this country. This guy gave his whole life. This dude didn't even have a girlfriend. He gave his whole life to the country. This dude
and the world. He saved the world.
He saved the world, and it was a little kind of ongoing inside joke that this guy, never knew like Mary before gave birth to Jesus. Like he never knew woman. That's how pure the guy was. The guy didn't even like cursing. Tony Stark would say "damn" or something, and then Steve would go "language." Right? So Steve was pure as pure can be, almost too pure. You'd listen to him and you'd be like, oh man, this guy's a little too pure for me. And he says, Sam Wilson, you're my replacement. Sam says, this shield feels like it belongs to somebody else. He says, it's not. It's yours. It's you. And Bucky also highlights that in his line where he says, if he wasn't such a good judge of character, then he was wrong about me too, right? And here's the crazy thing. Steve is a good judge of character. And they're showing it throughout the show. He was right about Bucky. He was right about Sam. And here's the thing. Sam goes through what we call imposter syndrome because he's a black man who thinks he's not good enough for what he's rightfully earned.
Yeah.
That's something black people go through all the time because the society has told us we're not good enough. So he turns the shield over to the government, who say they're going to put in the Smithsonian. and who he thinks that's what because basically Sam basically says, I'm not good enough to be Steve, meaning nobody's good enough. So put that in the Smithsonian next to his suit. Nobody can be Captain America.
Yeah.
But then the government says, oh, yeah, you did the right thing. And then they give it to another dude.
What I like about this show is that, like, what I like about, like, what Marvel did was they didn't just give it to Sam and say, oh, call it a day. They're gonna give it to him in a way where we see him struggle with his identity before he gets it, and struggle with becoming Black Captain America, and like the thought behind it. I like that they're giving us, like, oh, he has to go through way more than the average than what John Walker had to. He was given it by the previous one, but still has to fight for fight himself, basically, to prove to himself that he earned it, that he belongs there.
And it's so interesting because now you can look back at the show even more and see the nuances that you might have missed. Like, one of them is War Machine, Colonel Rhodes talking to Sam, and Colonel Rhodes is extremely disappointed. Like, dude, what are you doing? What are you doing? And you kind of on Sam's side in that moment. You're like, no, he it's too heavy for him. Steve is just too pure for him. No one can reach Steve's level, right? He's just too pure. But Colonel Rhodes, he's the guy who knows. He's the guy who's in the military. He knows what this means. If there's a Black man who rightfully has earned that spot to be the Black, he's like, no, this is count. Basically, it's mirroring for us in the real world, Kamala Harris, Barack Obama. Like, say what you say about their politics and their personalities, but them being in those positions means something, because it tells the next generation, I can do it because I can see somebody who looks like me do it. And that's what Rhodes was telling Sam at that moment. Like, dude, I know it's heavy, but you got to have it because you got to do it for our people.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So, man, this show... Yeah, go ahead, Janine.
No, it's just like the show just brings such great conversation, and it doesn't shy away from that. Like, you can't talk about the show without touching this aspect. And I like that, because it's like it's hitting, it makes it very real, and that's where all the people are getting, like, mad about it, or like they're trying to tiptoe. They're getting mad that, like, oh, then it's not about this, but it is. It really is. You can't hide from it. You can't shy away from it. This is what is happening in real life, and they're just making you aware.
You're finally experiencing what it's like to the whole point that we as Black people have been telling to the white people to understand our situation now through Marvel, because you can't escape even into your, because everybody watches Marvel to escape reality. You can't escape it again, right?
Yeah.
You're experiencing racism and you're like, man, it's not fair. Why does the white man have to be the villain? Why you guys gotta listen, sorry, this is what Black people are experiencing today, and now you get to experience it. So maybe next time you see it happen, you'll actually get off your butt and do something instead of just turn off everything and hide your eyes and miss out. And that's what I love about this conversation of the show, man. That's what
people
it's doing.
People need to understand that, like, when we're looking at this show, like, this is what this show really is bringing to the table. People forget. Here's the one detail in the first Captain America movie, that people somehow forget to wrap their minds around. It's the 1940s. There was an Asian guy and a Black guy in Steve's squad. He chose those guys because, remember, he had to pick a squad after he rescued all those people to save Bucky. He had to go back, and he said, and the government's like, all right, choose your squad of people who you want to go. He had a Black guy and an Asian guy in his squad in the 1940s. Now, when you bring it to 2021 at the time that this is going on, you're looking at it going like, oh my gosh, Steve Rogers was pure in the sense that he wasn't even racist. For a regular white guy from Brooklyn, he didn't even see it was like nothing to him. He didn't even acknowledge it. And I get it, it's a comic book character, and I know that at the time they were making the movie, that wasn't something that was like. Think about it. Since it's canon, he chose a black guy and an Asian guy as part of his squad without hesitation. He didn't even think about it.
Boom.
And people don't understand that Steve also did lift Thor's hammer. So I don't know why we're sitting here arguing with Steve Rogers on judge of character, but that's just me. That's
No,
just me. I think
he literally proved that he was worthy from Thor. Thor.
So
what can you say that was bad? Like,
yeah,
how is he not a good judgment? Okay, the Thor.
He follows all the tropes of purity, literally all the tropes. Like I said, when he hanged up his superhero is when he finally gets with his girl and experiences life as a man. Okay, seriously, this dude. Don't get any purer than that. The only one who I know people who aren't Christian who are watching this will get upset, but there's only one who has lived a pure life than Steve Rogers, and his name is Jesus Christ. Okay, and he's the Lord and Savior of all. Okay, so I'm sorry, but I had to say that. But yeah, and here's the other thing. I wanted to touch on another character who I love in this show. And I knew I would love him because he's proven to be one of my favorite villains. But is he really? Is he really though in this show? And that's Baron Zemo.
Yeah.
In our old episode talking about WandaVision, when we were doing our predictors, I finally got one right. I said that he would get out of jail by an inside job, and I was 100% correct. I didn't know it would be Bucky himself, but it was an inside job. Somebody got him out, and that's exactly how he got out. And now he's out, and he's proven himself to be awesome. We got to see him a little bit more deeper, and we get to see that he's a cool guy. And that is what is so interesting about him. He's a baron, so he actually has money. Which was also cool, and he's always seeming to like to drink or something like that, so that he's a chill guy, but then something will happen and then you can see, oh, he's a villain. And in those scenes is whenever his ideal is threatened, which is he does not believe in super soldiers. Super soldiers should not exist. If they're around, he's not going to let it happen. And he's the other side of the coin of a bad day, because he had a very, very bad day in Age of Ultron, right? He had a very bad, and that's what led him on his path of revenge. And so he is a villain too. But I sympathize with Zemo, but I understand he's a villain. And if he goes to jail, fine, he deserves it. If he does it, good, because he makes good story. But especially after, by the way, for those listening, that's another favorite scene is he got to see John Walker get his butt kicked. He enjoyed it a little bit, and then he said, "Time to go," and he bounced.
Yeah.
So
out.
So what you guys think about Zemo? I love the dude. I love him.
Honestly, in the first couple of when we first saw him, I kept on waiting for him to mess up. Like, I knew at some point he was gonna leave and dip out and say, "What's up? Leave. I'm out, guys." And I thought it was gonna be when they first found the first super soldier serums and he crushed them up, and he just went off on his own. I thought he was just gonna leave them there and just be like, "Yeah, I'm out, guys. You guys can't catch me." But when he came back with the car, I said, okay, maybe we can trust him a little bit. I think that was me on my part. I was a little too trusting. I was like, yeah, he's gonna be part of the gang. He's gonna be a part of the ragtag team. And then he said, and then last episode he said, yeah, got to go. That was I don't know. I think he just made a really cool villain. Like he's becoming cooler than I thought he was. I thought he was just some villain. We're never gonna see him again. And then he came, and I was like, oh.
Because I have to say before I let you talk, Nate, is I've said this over and over again. Besides Thanos, I think he's the best villain in the MCU in the fact that he also succeeded in his plan. And that scene is in Civil War where they said, well, here you are in jail. And then he goes, you didn't succeed. And he goes, but did I though? And he did. He did succeed. So that's what I like. I like cerebral villains who are calculating in their revenge. And that's what he is. And I think that's what makes him a more interesting villain than John Walker. John Walker is not calculating. He's very emotional. Zemo, he'll get emotional, but he will calculate. And when you think everything's cool, all of a sudden, here comes a gun. And then, oop, somebody just died. Because that's what exactly happened with the...
Zemo's a loose cannon, man.
Yeah.
He's a loose cannon. But I love it. I love his cool nature. He's always relaxed in every scenario, except when, like you said, when his ideals get challenged. Like, when he sees a super soldier serum on the ground, he becomes a threat. He just starts crushing it all up. Because that's only when you see Zemo lose his cool. But in every scenario, he's been very level-headed, very relaxed, very cool, calm and collected. He doesn't overreact. And I love that. And I really love that. Marvel's villains were bad at a point. And then as the years went on, you got Zemo. Then after Zemo, you got Killmonger. Then after Killmonger, you got Thanos. Like, the villains were getting better and better and better. Now, the villains in Marvel, like, they're really, like, you're looking at it, like, look at Carly. Sam and Carly actually connected last episode. They resonated with each other. And she's supposed to be the villain of the show. Like, she's the antagonist here. She's the leader of the Flag Smashers, causing all this chaos. And yet, here she was coming to peace with Sam. But guess who decides to go and mess it all up?
No, because
John Walker
really wanted to
John
talk
Walker
about
pulls the
that.
Star-Lord. John Walker pulls the Star-Lord, busts the door open. And you know what? We were all watching it.
Like, how is somebody going to tell you to give them a time frame and you just completely ignore? Sam literally had her. Just like Star-Lord. They had him. But because you wanted to, I was so angry. I'm so sorry. I was just so mad. We were watching it, and we knew what was gonna happen next. We go, oh my gosh. We were all watching. We're just like, oh Lord, he's about to do the Star-Lord thing, isn't he? Right as we said that, he goes, Carly Morgenthau, you're under arrest. I'm like, oh my gosh. And then of course, because I called it, I literally said, I was like, because I was watching it with George, and I was like, bro, George, he about to pull the whole thing, and Carly's about to be like, oh, you did this as a setup. This is exactly what happened. I knew it. I was like, she's gonna think the whole thing is set up, gonna jack up everything, and it's just John Walker became the menace of the show. Now John Walker, I sympathize now more with Carly than I do with John. Because now John, he's a threat now. He's a legitimate menace now. Like, he is out of control. Like, because bro, he's killed people before. So this is nothing new. And
here's the thing, guys. And this is what we have to recognize. And this is why we keep talking about this dude, like, because we just like him. The dude's playing superhero. Okay? He gets the suit, he gets the name, and then he expects everyone to kowtow to him. Listen, Captain America became Captain America by saving lives, kicking butt, taking names. And that's when people started saying this dude is a legend. The reason why he can wear that shield and he fights the enemies in New York and everybody knows that this guy can lead is because this dude took a friggin' plane and flew it into an iceberg to make sure people lived, okay? He literally sacrificed, just like he put his body in front of that grenade before the super serum, he does it again with the super serum, with that plane, has a small talk with Peggy as his last words, never expecting to wake up. And thankfully for the serum, he was able to freeze and come back to life. But he was expecting to be dead. He thought that was it. And that's why he's Captain America, meaning Captain America won't play in no hero. Captain America was always a hero. And it reminds me of the line from Homecoming. And it's Tony Stark of all people. Tony Stark says to Peter, if you need the suit, if the suit makes you the hero, then you shouldn't have it in the first place.
Exactly.
Who did you learn that from?
Somebody that he idolized because his dad idolized and who actually made that shield for. All right? Remember, it's his dad who made that shield for Captain America because they believed in this dude, okay? And he never let them down, pretty much, except for he didn't let him kill Bucky when he found out Bucky killed his parents.
The people don't understand the point of Civil War was that Cap was right. Like, that's what the whole idea is. Like, yeah, they obviously the marketing makes you go Team Iron Man and Team Cap, right? Because that's what got all the hype for the movie. But the whole idea of Civil War is that no, Cap was right. The only reason why he was wrong was because he didn't tell Tony.
That's the only thing.
But the objective truth is that Bucky was under mind control. Had Bucky not been under mind control, Tony's parents would have been alive. That's the truth. People don't, and the Sokovia Accords were wrong because because Steve's argument was totally correct. Why would we hand over power to people? Look what the government did. Again, Sam tries to put the shield in a museum. They create a menace.
And then
to society.
And then another thing the government did was with the black super soldier who no one ever knew about. Like, why would we put power into the government? Because all they do is manipulate their own power.
So let's speak on another.
That's the point of Civil War.
That's right. And that's the other thing people got to remember. When the government was doing bad, he walked away from it. He walked away, and he does that in the comics too. He said, "Oh, America, you want me to be Captain America while you're doing this stuff? Nope. Bye-bye. I'll be something else. I'll be Nomad, or I'll give you the shield for you guys to do whatever you please." But here's the other thing, guys. Another character I wanted to talk about a little bit. Bucky. So Bucky has, he came back from, Infinity Wars, and he was in Wakanda. He got a new vibranium arm. And, he's the White Wolf. And Io, after kicking John Walker's butt, actually kicks his butt too, and does a little failsafe on his arm and calls him James. Doesn't call him White Wolf. And it's because she's disappointed in him because he's being like the Winter Soldier. He's reverting back in that he's working with Zemo, right? And if you notice, like, he's doing some dirty stuff and he's not supposed to, right? He's not supposed to be doing this dirty stuff because he's the White Wolf now. He's not the Winter Soldier no more, but he's reverting back. What's your guys' thoughts on Bucky?
Honestly, seeing Bucky come from where he was, in the other movies, we never really got like much of Bucky in the other movies. It was more like focused on everyone else, even though like Civil War was like mainly about him, but like we never really saw him. Maybe that's just me. But seeing him now, like, it's like hard to see him go through what he's going through, because it's like I know it's not technically his fault, but you can see like he feels all that guilt, and it's gonna take him a while to get rid of that guilt, because it's not his fault, but he did it, and he has to accept that. I don't know. I think that it's like it weighs on me more like in this show than it did in Civil War, because in Civil War, like, he came, he knew like what had happened, but it was like we didn't get to see him deal with it. It's now we're seeing him deal with that trauma.
That first scene made me cry. Like when you see Bucky, when Io is saying the trigger words to brainwash him, and you see him have the flashbacks and he's fighting it, and then he doesn't go under the influence for the first time in his life and he starts crying, that hits. Like that hit because you see that he starts smiling because he's like, I'm finally free. Like those words, like it's like he's finally starting the healing process. And that was the very big first step. Another thing that this show goes into that people don't talk about is the trauma. It deals with trauma. Sam has to deal with race, but this show is also about trauma. And I was really thinking about it. This show think about a lot of people who have been through traumatic experiences. And sometimes the first step is to let it out, to say, what's happened to you, or to finally come to terms with what you've done or what's happened to you. And you see the relief in Bucky's face. He smiles because he's like, this is my first step into living my life. Because for 70 years, he had been an assassin? Like, that is insane. He's trying to make amends for his sins. And you see him just let it all go. He lets it all out, and he's just relieved to be able to start a new chapter. And that's what the show also delves into. It's like, how do you deal with trauma? Like when you're traumatized, all the things that you've been through in your life, like what is the correct way to deal with it? And people, yes, the race is important, but the whole traumatic side of it. That's why Sam and Bucky are like two sides of the same coin. They're both traumatized, but in different ways. Sam obviously being black, and Bucky being a soldier. So that when they both go to Isaiah Bradley's house, it's a black soldier. So it all comes full circle. So when they see on both sides how a black soldier is affected in both ways, because first of all, Isaiah Bradley mentally, he's like, wait, but I have the same abilities as Captain America. The super soldier serum worked on me. No, you're black. It's the 1950s. You are not touching nowhere that shield. Nope. But instead, we're going to test on you and make you a lab rat. And you heard Isaiah go, for 30 years, they made me a lab rat. They tested on me. So when that all comes full circle, that's what the show is. It's race and trauma. That's the theme. Those are the two themes of the show. And John Walker, traumatized by what he did in Afghanistan, trying to help people, and then getting beat up by a whole bunch of black people. And I bet you in this episode, Sam's going to beat him up too. So that's another black person to beat him up. But
hey, it's a long time coming. We were all enjoying his butt getting beat by Dora Milaje for many reasons, because I think we're in the time that, you see black women and they Dora Milaje, put some respect on it. All right. It's put some respect on it. You see Dora Milaje, you say, I would like you to not hurt me, please.
No,
because Dora Milaje ain't afraid of. That's one thing I love about Dora Milaje. They ain't afraid of nobody. I think they're the failsafe for even Black Panther. If Black Panther they're the ones they'll take him out too. You know, they can take out anybody. They got vibranium spears. They're not afraid of no one. So and I like that, because here is the most slighted, disrespected thing in America: a black woman who is so empowered in the Dora Milaje. It's like, man, Wakanda is what America should be, because it's doing the things, respecting cultures, respecting tribes, but all coming together to do amazing things. They're number one. They're so number one that we don't even know about them. They're hidden, right? They're number one in technology. They're number one in healthcare. They're number one in this. They're number one in that. They're actually they're number one in military. All right. so number one that they don't even need to brag about it. They keep it a secret, right? Right. So that's what it is. So it's so interesting in that here is John Walker. He's confronted by them, and he automatically assumes that here's some two black women
He's like, I'm
who
Captain
are
America.
out of their,
They're all
yeah,
like,
they're out of their depth. That's what it was. I'm Captain America. You're too black. You're out of your depth. Take it easy. Put those down before you hurt yourself. And then he gets his butt kicked, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm the one out of my depth."
Mm-hmm.
And I love that part so much because it's like, hey, that's what we need to see more of because that's what black women are capable of doing. And Sam, as a black man, is way more capable as Captain America because he's made all the right calls. If you watch the show, have they not succeeded? True, but have they made the better calls than John Walker? Yes. Sam is a better, cooler, level-headed leader. He has the pedigree and all these things. And he can't get a loan for his sister, but he is America's hero.
No, literally, if it weren't for John Walker, him and Carly probably would have found a solution.
That's right. And that's how it is in these shows, right? If Star-Lord didn't hear that Gamora was killed, Star-Lord would have let Spider-Man take that glove off, and then it's resolved. So, of course, we had 2 more episodes to fill. So, Carly, of course, didn't. And, of course, Zemo was there as well. Zemo don't play. He getting rid of super soldiers, you know? And that's what I like about it. He don't play. He was ready to shoot them. He was ready. You should see that scene. Zemo is shooting at Carly, no hesitation, ready to kill her. So,
oh yeah, he's on time.
yes,
he's on time for sure.
I was like, whoa, this guy coming.
He's about to come out of nowhere, bro. He's about to come out of nowhere, bro. Zemo scares me. Zemo legitimately scares me.
Yes.
He's gonna come back. We're gonna see him. That was not the last time we're seeing him in the show.
Oh
no, for sure.
Oh no,
for sure.
We need Zemo. We need him. He is the Doctor Doom till we get Doctor Doom, pretty much.
Literally, you know what? I'm glad that you mentioned that. People are ignoring. Like, nobody's talking about the fact that all that stuff happened in Latvia. Like, understand that? Latvia is Doctor Doom's country. People are completely ignored. Like it's like nobody's talking about it, and I'm getting annoyed because Latvia is literally Doctor Doom's country. Like, hello, like that's the first introduction to a Fantastic Four reference in the MCU. All this stuff is happening in Latvia. Nobody's talking about that. Insane.
Oh man.
In Latvia, I'm surprised nobody's all like, oh my gosh, what if Doctor Doom shows up or something? Like nobody's saying anything.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's in Latvia, guys. That's where Doctor Doom. That's his country, bro.
They keep teasing. They're teasing the mutants. They're teasing Fantastic Four. They're teasing everything, guys.
I can't wait for that to like come.
Yes.
One of the power brokers, Doctor Doom.
That I was just thinking about that. Anyone
think of that?
That could happen.
Too early to unveil him, but did anybody think, they're in Latvia? Yeah, obviously everything goes down in Madripoor, but why are they in Latvia?
That would make sense.
Why the heck are they in Latvia? That seems kind of random. Of all the places they could have been in Marvel Universe, heck, it could have been in Madripoor. All the stuff that happened in Latvia could have happened in Madripoor. Why is it happening in Latvia? Hello, we're in Latvia. America killed somebody in Latvia. Just saying, the power broker could easily be Doctor Doom, but nobody.
That's exactly what he does. He's always covering. Yes, and he makes super soldiers too. In fact, one of them becomes a villain for another show that's coming up later. Yes, and she will be the villain. I know it's confirmed she will be showing. So that would tie 2 things together. I'm referencing She-Hulk. Titania is created by Doctor Doom. And she is basically not really a super soldier, but some kind of experiment like that. So interesting. So guys, like we usually do when we come to the close of our discussion, like I always say, I had to get it off my chest. That's why I do this. Because man, this was so heavy. This show is so good. All right, 2 more episodes left. Nate, predictions. What's gonna happen?
All right, so last time I got fooled because of WandaVision, so I don't trust Marvel anymore. I should have trusted them since in the Infinity War trailer back in
literally.
2017 when they fooled all of us and showed the Hulk in Wakanda with everybody when we got the Hulk Buster. All right, so and then when Paul Bettany said that there was going to be a special Marvel cameo,
And it was himself.
There was nobody. We just got Ralph Boner. So here's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say this. I think this episode, John is gonna fight Bucky and Sam. They're gonna fight for the shield. I think they're gonna get the shield this episode. And in terms of this whole secret cameo, I'm not believing anything until I see it. But what I do believe this episode, we're gonna cry because that's what the writer said. This is like gonna be the best episode of the whole show. So I expect Sam and Bucky to kick John's butt, or they get their butts kicked. Those are the only 2 predictions I can have because I don't trust Marvel. Like, Marvel has been fooling me to the point where they're now sending their actors straight up lie to the fans.
Literally.
That is sickening. That is sickening. So
they
like,
really think these things out.
Because they know the payoff is the surprise. The surprises are making them these are $1 billion surprises.
$1 billion.
So, all right, Geneva, what do you got?
Honestly, okay, I also agree with it. I think we're gonna get a really good fight scene in this episode. I'm expecting it. We are going to get a really good fight scene, and this is where we're gonna see like our change of events. This is what we're gonna see. Like, this is where we're gonna see like what's really gonna happen with Sam and the shield and everything. This is where we're gonna see like how Bucky and Sam approach this problem, because right now they only got each other. So it's just like we're gonna see how them two has a dynamic duo fight everybody, and I'm excited. Honestly, I really am.
So my prediction is, man, it's so similar. Like, I think they pretty much let us know it has to go this way, and I think the question is, like I asked earlier, is the government gonna say, okay, he's fired, or no, it's gonna slide? Because we know what Sam and Bucky are about to do. They taking that shield.
Yeah.
They're just waiting for the answer. Are we going to be fugitives because we're going to be the enemies of the government, or are we going to be the heroes for the government? And it's all on the government side right now. It's all on them. And I have a strong feeling the government is going to make the wrong call.
Yep.
Because that's how it is. That's the biggest theme in Captain America. I feel like the government's going to sell. Because think about real life. And think about how many times the government has sold. In real life, that was the theme of all 3 Captain America movies. Like, they sold. Especially in Winter Soldier. They had Hydra growing inside of S.H.I.E.L.D. So, like, Civil War, the government's selling. They keep selling. So, like, I feel like they're going to be like, you know what? He was a terrorist. Good job, good job, son. Like, and then Sam and Bucky are going to have enough. They're going to be like, bro, we can't trust nobody.
Yeah.
Because if the government is going to screw over Steve, why would they get anything any better?
Yeah. So, yeah, Geneva, I love that call that this is going to, when we finally see Sam and I think it's going to be reminiscent of the Dora Milaje in the fact that I believe Sam is going to whoop that ass.
I know.
And here's the thing. He's gonna flip it up in his arm just like that Dora Milaje did.
Oh, you're gonna step on that shield, pow!
Like, and he's gonna say you never hold this thing again. And I'm gonna have a full on euphoric moment because it's gonna put 2 things away. It's gonna say, 1, Sam is Captain America, and number 2, you don't need the serum. You just need to be a hero. And that's what MCU is very good at. DC, it's not the same. DC, you got to be a superhero. MCU,
God's trying to become men. That's
yes, yeah. DCU, it's all gods, it's all Olympians, right? Except for Batman, he's the only exception.
Yeah.
But MCU, there's so many heroes that have no powers that do amazing things. Sharon Carter, who we didn't even talk about this episode.
Oh yeah.
Peggy
My girl
Carter,
Sharon. Woo!
Sam Wilson, Nick Fury,
Iron Man. Tony.
Maria. Yeah, there's name them.
Black Widow.
Hawkeye, Black Widow. They're all these highly trained Baron Zemo, highly trained marksmen, martial artists, but no powers. Dora Milaje, right?
Yeah.
No powers, no super serum, but you still know. You meet them,
Not
you not met. I listen. Scarlett Johansson is I think a 5 inches shorter than me, 200 pounds less than me. I ain't touching Black Widow. Black Widow gonna knock me out. No, thank you. You know, Clint Barton I think is shorter than me and weighs less. No, I ain't messing with that dude. That dude take you out. That dude be taking. Did you see what he?
Arrows from
One day,
without even looking.
One day we're gonna find out what he did as Ronin, and we're gonna know. You don't mess with Clint Barton. Yeah. So
For the Hawkeye series.
yeah. So I can't wait for that, and that's my prediction. Sam are gonna beat that, but Bucky gonna enjoy and watch. He's gonna have that vibranium arm, taking his popcorn. He's gonna be like, "Yeah, do it, do it." You know,
I've been waiting for this one.
either that, or he's gonna be like, if the government is backing up John Walker, it'll be Bucky taking those guys out, so Sam can have his one-on-one, and then that realization that John Walker is still ain't bleep. You know, when you have a regular hero who doesn't have the super soldier, that's when everyone's gonna say, "Oh, it's not about the super soldier serum," and that's what the whole point is, and that's why the opening sound that we hear in Falcon and Winter Soldier is that sound that ended Infinity War, which was Steve Rogers telling Sam, "The shield is yours." Feels like it belongs to somebody else. It doesn't. Man, thank you guys for coming on the show to talk about Falcon and Winter Soldier. Man, this was fun. Geneva, your first time. Nate, you a veteran. We're gonna come. We're gonna have maybe all, if George is with us too. But you know how we do. We're gonna have another episode at the end of the show, talking our reaction and analysis as we get ready for the next one, because they're giving us a little bit break, but the next one will be Loki.
I'm excited.
Jumping right into Loki. That's when
so
the
excited.
multiversal stuff starts coming from.
Loki's what's gonna get me.
All right, so hey, if you enjoyed this, subscribe. We'll see you next time. God bless. Bye.